Welcome to Pop Palace. My name is Jack. Here at Pop Palace, we celebrate iconic women and queer people in pop music and culture. So, one thing we like to do is have our guests introduce themselves and tell us one of your earliest memories you have with music.
Okay. Well, I'm Rylo. I'm a pop girly singer-songwriter and sometimes producer. Um, my first memory with music. This is always really hard for me. I would say this is like pretty insignificant, but I remember having like my dad's little portable cassette player. And I remember
Mhm.
like always bothering him to use it. I was like fascinated with it as a kid. And the only thing I would ever listen to is the Tarzan Phil Collins soundtrack. Um, so
Yep.
yeah, which still hits.
Mhm.
It's a banger. But that's one of my earliest music memories of like really like hyper fixating on something. um, so I would bring that with me to school and I would listen to that during my recess. And one time I did get in trouble for it. Um, my teacher was like, what is this? What is she listening to? And it was just the Phil Collins soundtrack. But yeah, that was maybe around like first grade, second or first grade. Sure it goes back
I love that.
earlier than that, but that was distinct for me.
Yeah. I remember I used to listen to music before bed, like I was the only way I could sleep. And Tarzan soundtrack was one of my
Mhm,
CDs.
mhm.
Yeah,
Get into
it's like
that.
a classic. Yeah. So you recently released Magic 8 Ball The Prelude. I'm obsessed. Can you tell us a little bit about the story and themes behind this
Oh my
project?
god, yes. Oh my goodness. Let's see. So there's Party Monster, Ambrosia, and then there's the last release single, Magic 8 Ball. And for me, I've actually been working there's no way to talk about this without talking about my next project. I
Yeah.
have been working on an album for the past like 2.5 years. And I've been locked in with two producer friends of mine who are across all of the songs on the Prelude triple single, Tay and AO Beats. And these songs are kind of songs that we've been making throughout the album process that didn't quite fit into the narrative of the
Mhm.
album in the world of the album, but we're still like bangers that we wanted to like make sure that we got out. We didn't want to just sit on them. So in order to like kind of warm people up, I wanted to give them a little sneak peek or a prelude to what to expect on the album next year. And yeah, that's what these three singles are. They're all a little bit thematically kind of centered around what I'm trying to explore with the album, but they're also
Mhm.
just more, like, bop oriented. They're, like, meant to just kind of
Yeah.
be bangers in their own singular way. So yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I've been listening to them to like hype myself up on my way to work lately. I work retail and with the holidays coming up, I'm like, it gives me that extra boost
Mhm.
to like be around people all
Yes,
day.
100%. And when I was actually making some of these songs, I think I was still a barista. So, yeah, when I
Hmm.
was making some of these we started this in 2023. Wow, yeah. So if we started the album process in 2023, I was still in my final few months of being a barista, and that
Yeah.
was hard on the mental and also just, like, the pop girl ego of it all, like,
Hmm.
trying to, like, be fabulous and act larger than life and then kind of come in and sometimes deal with the most insufferable customers, you know? Like, it's hard
Yeah.
to do.
100%.
For me, it's funny that you mentioned that because I feel like these songs also did a very similar thing for me at the time when I was making them. But I'm happy
Hmm.
to hear that and, crossing my fingers for you, wishing you the best coming this holiday season.
Thank you. I feel like music for me is almost like I see musicians as like superheroes no matter what. Like however many songs you have released because to me like I feel like I'm like morphing into like a little part of the song and like I take it as like this is who I'm gonna be
Mm,
today and gives me like that full energy. And so yeah, I love
uh,
it. And they're like the perfect beats to get the day
yes,
going.
it's really important, honestly. I realized that, like, what I'm writing tends to manifest. even if
Mhm.
it's, like, not true in this moment or it's not accurate to how I'm feeling, I tend to, like, because I'm singing it all the time or I'm listening to it all the time, I, like, tend to, like, take it on in an emotional
Yeah.
way, and it, like, morphs into, like, this chicken or the egg thing about, like, "Wait, is this, like was this did I write about this before it actually happened?" And, like, the interesting
Mhm.
thing that happens there, um, and same thing with listening, sometimes you really have to, like, work yourself into a mood based on what you're listening to, so I totally get that, and that's awesome.
Yeah. So you recently collaborated with fellow icons Chi and Reisha Rami on the song Ambrosia. Obsessed, like, so good. The outfits in it too, iconic.
Thank you.
Can you tell us how this collaboration came about
Yeah,
and how was it working together?
yes. Oh, wow. This is a funny song because it's so, fragmented in terms of the collaborative
Mhm.
process. Few years back, this song has probably been as old as that beginning of the album itself around like late 2023, um where we got in I got in with AO Beats initially. Tatex couldn't make the
Mhm.
first production session, so we locked in at his home studio, and then we brought in an additional writer, Eva Honey, to kind of help elevate the story of what Ambrosia is supposed to be, which is like this very like, I don't know if I can like use like
You can say
I was
whatever
like,
you
it's
want.
supposed to be like
Yeah.
this cunty,
Mhm.
like just diva track, and
Mhm.
that's like the only
Yes.
purpose that it's supposed to serve. And because that's for me, I was like, the album is missing that. Like it needs a cunty it girl track.
Yeah.
Um, and so it was very much like kind of writing for brief a little bit. Like I knew exactly what
Mhm.
I wanted. So we brought in Eva Honey, who's an amazing writer. And I think that was either our first or second song. She has two cuts on the album world, Ambrosia included. Um, and yeah, it was just perfect, perfect kind of like timing of things. She was available, and also Chi Chi was in town. Chi Chi was in town that same time, and it was our first time really meeting each other, I believe.
Mhm.
I think she hit me up. She's like, "I'm in LA, let's hang out kind of vibe, let's like do something." I believe that's how it went down. And I was like, oh my god, okay, perfect, let's bring you into this session pretty much. I'm working on my album, kind of going for this vibe. She comes in with Eva with AO, we make the first wave of the song, and it sounded a little bit different. I think it was a little bit slower, and also it wasn't
Mhm.
nearly as like funk influence. Like there's like this kind of Brazilian funk beat to Ambrosia.
Yeah.
And it didn't really have that swing to it yet either. So when we kind of revisited production, when bringing Tatex into it, we definitely like further cuncified it. And we
Mhm.
were kind of carving away at finding it. And then I was like, song sounds good. I feel like it needs another feature though. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I feel like that's really gonna bring up the energy here. So I was kind of going back and forth about like what that feature would be, who it would be. And then I became closer with Rachel Rami as well, just through just the it girl, pop girl scene of LA. We ended up at the same things. And I've been following her online. Pretty sure I hit her up. And yeah, we're just
Mhm.
friends now. We're all friends now. But yeah, it was kind of like between the Chi Chi version and the Raisha version, there was probably, like, maybe a year. Like, it was sitting on
Oh,
my computer for,
okay.
like, a year, and I was like, "It needs another feature."
Yeah.
And then once I got closer with Raisha, then I brought her onto it. So yeah, and kind of a little bit of a mix and match of everything. But yeah, it is what it is now because of like many years of space. We did end up
Mhm.
shooting that photo shoot. What was it, last November? So November of 2024, when Chi
Okay.
Chi, because she's New York based. So when Chi Chi was
Mhm.
in town, and I made sure to plan it around her schedule. That's actually the same photo shoot as the Party Monster assets, the Party Monster promotional photography, and
Okay.
also the Magic 8 Ball promo photos. So we did all three for all three singles during the same shoot, in a span of like 2 or 3 hours. Yeah.
Dang. That's a
It was a
lot.
lot. That was, like, my favorite fun fact about that photo shoot is that most people don't know.
That's insane.
Yeah. But, yeah, it came
So
together really nicely.
that's awesome. Do you when you're doing like the thinking of like the visuals that pair along with the music, how important is that it's like cohesive? Do you think about like what the visuals are going to look like while you're creating the music too?
Um, for the most part, yes. It's not super important to me, as I'm, like, writing the song. Uh,
Yeah.
I went to film school. I do have a background in screenwriting. Um as a part
Mhm.
of my curriculum, and I really fell in love with, like, the art of, like, world building and storytelling in that format. So when I'm writing a song,
Yeah.
I feel like even if I don't have visuals in mind, just the way that I am, like, attuned to writing, I'm always kind of writing a little bit
Mhm.
visually anyway. Um, and
Yeah.
so as I'm writing, I'm really kind of prioritizing the story and, like, does this, like, kind of make sense as its own, like, contained narrative? Um, but
Mhm.
then obviously, as soon as the song is done or, like, I leave the session, I think what's a good indicator of whether or not I feel really attached to the song is if I can immediately think of visual. So it's not
Yeah.
necessarily, like, happening as I'm writing, but if I
Mhm.
can, like, really see something based on the song and, like, it's really, like, taking me somewhere else, I feel like that really does elevate the song, and it usually makes me feel like it is exactly where it needs to be. In terms of, like, the visuals of the photos and everything like that, I actually am pretty planned out. When I'm
Mhm.
doing a photo shoot, it is pretty meticulous in terms of, like, okay, this is the vision, and I will come up with a
Yeah.
mood board, and the mood board will be 30 pages long,
Mhm.
and it will have absolutely every reference usually, that I would like to hit that day. The album itself is very visually rich. It is a concept
Yeah.
album, without saying, like, too much too early. It
Mhm.
is very much a concept album, and I'm very much planning kind of, like, bringing you into a physical world, into, like, a very different place that's very textured. And for me, that I knew I had to, like, really communicate that visually in order for people to, like, fully go there, because there's only so much you can
Mhm.
do sonically. Um,
Yeah.
so for me, yeah, the last few photo shoots that I've done have been, like, super by the book, like, this is what I wanna do. For Ambrosia, I always knew that I wanted 3 collaborators, and I wanted to, like, reflect that
Mhm.
with the three-headed dog that we're holding on the cover art for
Yeah.
Ambrosia. I was like, "That is literally that's it." I knew going into
It's
that photo
perfect.
shoot that I wanted to kind of render in that dog. So the raw image is us holding leashes that are attached to a suitcase. And then we would swap the
I love
suitcase
that.
in for the dog later. But yeah, kind of everything is intentional, more or less.
Mhm. I love that. I can't wait for the album. I love a concept album. I feel like you can really tell like there's some people that can make really good music, but then there's people that can bring you into an entire world, and that's what made me fall in love with music is cuz it helped me escape sometimes the world that I was in. Then I can escape into someone else's world they created.
Mhm.
I love it. I'm so
Yeah, my favorite
excited.
artists do the same exact thing. That's, like, what connects me to music as well. So I feel like I'm always kinda chasing that, if my idols can do it, maybe that's the challenge I rise to.
Yeah, exactly. Did you style yourself for the shoots or did you have any
I
help?
did, I styled myself for everything. I just had a huge shoot a few weeks ago, styled myself
Mhm.
for that. I had for the prelude shoot, I styled myself for that as
Yeah.
well. And, it's not necessarily out of, like, preference or love for styling.
Yeah.
I just, like, have I'm kind of not great at articulating exactly what I'm going for sometimes, and I can be, like, very, like,
Mhm.
cerebral about it. I'm like, "It needs to be this vibe," so
Yeah.
I'm still trying to get kind of my feet wet in terms of, like, really how to communicate that across multiple teams, because that's, like, a whole 'nother skill in and of itself. Um, but for me, I've just this project that I've been working on in this world that I've been in it for so long. Um, and I've been
Mhm.
like really like in the weeds of it mentally trying to figure out how I want to come across visually that it almost felt easier to just because I know exactly what it is. I know exactly what it looks like to the extent where it's like holds up two images and I could be like, yes, no, very, very
Yeah.
easy for me. So as much as I want to lean on, a styling team, like
Mhm.
literally anyone, to like really kind of elevate the look and the image and the feel, it just what I had to accept that this is just not the project that's gonna happen with.
Yeah.
I care so much about the fashion of it and how things look.
Mhm.
Still kind of a bit of a novice when it comes to, like, fashion, like, the higher fashion, the designer of it all, like, I really that's a goal of
Uh-huh.
mine is wanna become more familiar with, like, the things that I'm wearing and develop a relationship with the designers that I'm wearing, if at all, or,
Yeah.
sourcing the things, like, where am I sourcing my things from? Um, and I think that's something, like, a key stylist can, like, really help me elevate too. In the
Mhm.
interim, that's kind of something I've been, like, exploring on my own, just because I'm my own resource that's right here all the time. Um
Yep.
so I have been really deep diving into, like, really what I wanna wear and learning about different silhouettes and
Mhm.
learning about different kind of independent designers, learning how to really source things, secondhand. My favorite thing that I got recently, was for, this photo shoot that I just this huge photo shoot I did a few weeks ago. I'm wearing 2011 spring summer Alexander McQueen heels that I got off of eBay, and
I love that.
I love it, and I was like, this is my
Yep.
pride and joy." So,
Mhm.
I do still care quite a lot, even when it's just me, but I can't wait to bring on a stylist and kind of offload some of the pressure.
Yeah. Definitely. Is there, like, a dream outfit or, like, piece of clothing that you're, like, if you had unlimited budget or, like, even if it's, like, not expensive but hard to get, is there, like, a specific thing that you could, like, dreaming of?
Actually, yes, I've looked into it multiple times to see if I can source it myself.
Mhm.
Um, I think they, like, took them, like, out of stock, like, everywhere. I can't find them for resale, I can't find them on the actual official website, but again, it's Alexander McQueen, the hoof boots. I don't like, they are
Yes.
true like, because there are certain, like, hoof style boots, the
Mhm.
tabbies, the things like that, but these are actually, like, truly like a horse's hoof,
Yep.
and then they have, like, a little tail in the back. Obsessed, obsessed,
That'd be
obsessed.
so
I
iconic.
really, really,
Yeah.
like, that's a dream pull, and I've been looking and not finding, and also, if I
Mhm.
were to just, like, if I wanted to buy, like, full retail sale, that's, like, what, 3,000 bucks maybe on, like, some shoes
Yeah.
that I'm only gonna probably wear once, so,
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah.
they seem impossible to find and source on my own, but I am obsessed with them.
You'll do it
One day,
one day.
yeah.
I know it'll happen.
Thank you.
So, as a main pop girl and an underground artist, how do you balance these dual roles and what boundaries do you aim to challenge within pop?
Ooh, that's a good question. Balance is very hard, and that has been a recurring theme of something I'm trying to get better at. Um, it is very difficult though, because it is also like it's such an ego pull. It's like when you're main
Mhm.
pop girl, mode, it is very like, okay, I'm hot shit. This is me. I got this. No one else got my sauce. This is what I'm pulling to the
Yep.
table. I'm that it girl. And that's a fun place to be in. And it makes sense when it makes sense. It doesn't make sense all the
Yeah.
time. As I said, I was working as a barista. And then after that, I was a personal assistant. And now I
Mhm.
still very much have a day job, and it doesn't really make any
Yeah.
sense to be like, "Yeah, I'm hot shit. Can I take your order, please?" Like,
No,
like,
literally.
so there is a little bit of a way that you need to step back, and
Mhm.
kind of that return to, like, self and, like, being grounded
Yeah.
is really hard, and I feel like I've gotten to a place now where it's like I can be up here and I can come down here without necessarily feeling depressed on that way down,
Yeah,
because when you have
definitely.
that adrenaline, like a perfect example, you like play a show and the show goes well and everyone loves it and is having a great time and
Mhm,
you feel amazing and you look amazing and then next day show's over. And I suck. Piece of shit. Oh my god, no one likes me. Like that's
yeah.
super normal. And I
Mhm,
think I'm getting better at it.
yeah,
In that return to center right now, but it is still really hard. And my fans, my Rye loves, they make me feel like main pop girl, which is lovely and fantastic and amazing, and I really can't express how much I appreciate that. Um, but,
mhm,
wide looking at it from a wide perspective, I'm still so underground. I'm still so small. And that's okay. Not mean nothing by that, but it's true. There's such a way to go before I actually, am of main pop star caliber. And that's okay. It is like a little bit intimidating when I realize how much further I
mhm,
have to go. But I think that's why learning the balance of it all and kind of learning how to take the ebbs and flows, and I'm still not that great at it, but I'm getting better, is super important because it is very much a long haul. And you
yeah,
have to like really sustain a lot of energy for a really long time before you really see that break. Um,
mhm,
and it feels delusional a little bit sometimes, like, when things aren't going, period, or they're going very slowly, to be like, "Yeah, but I'll be the biggest thing in 10 years, don't worry about it." Like, it
right,
feels very delusional
yeah,
to feed into, but, that's what I got. I got
yeah,
that, nothing but that in a dream. And I
mhm,
also do
and
have
it's
fans, now it's really becoming very real that it's global a little bit. It's still small community,
yeah.
but it's happening, so it's cool.
I think it's honestly so important to be delusional. I think it takes like a lot of self-worth and confidence to be able to be delusional in a time where you're feeling like that low. And some people might think it's like fully ego, but I think if you truly believe in yourself that much, then like the delusion makes
Yeah.
sense.
No, and
And like as cheesy, yeah, like as cheesy as it sounds, you're trying. There's so many people that wish they could be a pop star and they haven't even like set foot in like making music or anything like and you're keep doing it.
yeah, it's funny too because 'cause I'm like, on the worst day, I'm like, "Am I just like what? Is the party's over and I'm still here? Like, why?" I keep showing up, yeah. Like,
Yeah.
it's kind of I'm like, "Is this annoying?" Like, I just keep showing up. I'm
Uh-huh.
not like I'm relentless about this. I'm persistent. And then, on my best days, I'm like, "Yeah," and I'm doing it, and it's making all the difference. And
Yeah.
yeah, it does feel cheesy to say, and it feels, like, very cliche, but we've seen it with, like, last summer, like, all of the pop girls of the summer were girls that were in it
Mhm.
for a really long time. You had Charlie, Sabrina,
Yeah.
Chapel, and, Chapel is a perfect example of someone who really just, like, overnight kind of became that, like, underground champion to this
Mhm.
main pop girl that was just so undeniable.
Yeah.
So, it does happen, we see it happen. It feels delusional to, like, think that that's gonna happen to us, but, like,
But it
it's
will.
possible, I've seen it
Yeah.
happen, so kinda just keeping my
Mhm.
fingers crossed and trying to keep my head down and keep going.
Yeah. My first original podcast season was all about Madonna and her rise to fame, and it's very similar to like she left Detroit to go to New York, and she was literally just going to clubs handing CDs to different
No.
DJs. And then one day, everyone started knowing her songs, and that's how she went from like being an underground DJ to she didn't even have like a tour bus tour. She went from that to stadiums because her first like theater show people like rioted and like showed too many people showed up.
Wow.
And I'm like, that's so crazy. It could happen like if you put in the work and you're like it's true to yourself, you never know what will
I
happen.
did not know that story of Madonna, I really did not. I feel like
It's so
I just
iconic.
know Madonna as we all know her now, but
Mhm.
I really did not know that, and that's really
Yeah, she was working at Dunkin' Donuts and making music.
like,
So she was a
period.
barista
Like,
too.
come on. Okay,
Yeah.
love that. I really love I feel so seen in that. So that's actually I'm gonna walk away being like, "Yeah, I'm the next Madonna." Like, so yeah,
No,
thank you
literally,
for that.
yeah.
But
So, do you have any memorable fan experiences, either, like, as a fan or the artist?
yeah, oh wow, 2, as a fan, as artist.
Yeah,
I'll start as a fan. Um,
okay.
number 1 girl, Charlie XCX. I think so many it's so obvious.
Mhm,
It's such an obvious reference. Of course, she's my number 1 girl. Um, but at the same time, it feels fresh, you know? She's always doing something new. Oh my god, she just released a song today. Oh my
yeah.
god, I forgot. Um,
Oh my god.
right, pause. But yeah, she is
Pause. Everyone go listen.
Stop listening. But, yeah, she is incredible. She's always inspiring to me. She's because she's always doing something new. She's always doing something different. And more than just the music, I
Mhm,
really resonate with kind of how she relates to her music and kind of just relate to the way that she plays with, being main, being underground. She's really kind of theoretical and analytical about pop culture, and she knows exactly what she's doing, and like she
yeah,
explores themes. And she brings, maybe it's not like super fantastical worlds, but she brings people into a world with each album. Um, and I think that that's all I could dream
mhm,
for. I wanted to be Charlie XCX even when she was playing like the Will Turn in LA for what her self-titled 2019 tour.
yeah.
She was my number 1 then. So, like, of
And she had the bob?
huh? Oh, the bob? Yes. When she had the bob, absolutely. Like, I was like, "I need a bob now."
Oh, I think it broke.
Hello?
Oh, sorry, it froze
Oh,
for a
no,
sec.
you're fine. I was just saying, I was
Okay,
when the
yes.
bob
Yeah.
happened, I wanted the bob so bad. Um,
Mhm.
and yeah, Pop
It was so
2,
iconic.
like, the number 1 Angel Pop 2 self-titled run, absolutely insane. So
Mhm,
fresh, so cool, and, yeah, I wanted to be here in 2019, and of course, everyone wants to be here now, so it's just, like, crazy to see how she keeps
yeah,
reinventing herself. All to say, I met her during the Brat meet and greet last summer, June 2024. So before Brat really even had the moment, like before the Apple Dance was super
yeah.
viral, before that, that she was at what some record store in West Hollywood, and I lined up around the
Mhm.
block with my friends. I think I called out of work that day. I was
I
like,
love that.
"Gotta go." And this is actually not my first interaction that I've ever had with Charlie. Just
Mhm.
being in LA and, like, kind of being around. I've seen her maybe, like, on 2 other occasions, not in any kind of
Yeah.
extensive way whatsoever. There was, like, one time I was, like, banging on a bathroom door because I needed to take a leak and, like, "Get out of
Mhm.
there," and it was Charlie.
Stop, that's so
That
iconic,
was
though.
crazy, and then there was another time we were, in the back of the room for A.G. Cook's Britpop Road show, and I was with my boyfriend, and
Mhm.
she was right next to us, and I was like, "Oh my god, iconic."
Iconic.
So yeah, there's been a couple of overlapping moments, but never, like, really, like, fan engagement, and so I was in this line for the meet and greet.
Yeah.
I was like, "Yes, I'm gonna meet her. It's gonna be awesome when I do, and maybe she'll even recognize me, like, because she's reposted me sometimes, I don't know." And I get into this line, it's my turn, she signs my vinyl, and I was just like I felt so small. I felt so not because she made me feel small or anything, it was a
Right.
perfectly fine interaction, but I, like, I was preparing to say something, and I was like, "Yeah,
Mhm.
remember that time?" Or, or, "You posted me on your story, ah." And I, like, kind of just felt so small, and, like, I'm like, "I'm not gonna say that, of course she doesn't remember me." Like, so I was, like, really hyping myself up, and I felt so good to have had that moment, but it really just reminded me, how much of a fan I am and how much distance there is between us, and, like, like, that is not bestie, that is not, that we might interact online from time to time once in a blue moon, but I'm like, "Oh," and that's the only time that really put the fan artist relationship into, like, mass perspective for me.
Yeah.
Which it really, like, kind of altered my brain chemistry through the rest of the summer. 'Cause I
Mhm.
was just like, "Man, I've never felt so far from my idol, low key," and I was right in front of her. Um, and
Yeah.
what that did for me, it honestly put me in a very negative headspace, mostly because, I was like, "I don't wanna feel like that again." Like,
Mhm.
I've been a fan of her for so long, but it made me realize I'm like, "Oh, I don't think I really, like, want to be a fan anymore. I think I wanna be on that level," like and
Yeah.
it, like, really, like, put a fire underneath my butt to just be like, "Okay, there is a shift that's happening here, and, like, it
Mhm.
is different," and, the way I once related to Charlie as a fan it's different if I want to eventually be a peer, and a collaborator, and that really kind of just, like, made me kind of, like, wanna up my game even more ahead of, like, this album release. Um,
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. I
Oh, it's
um,
okay.
I thought I put myself on do not disturb, but, as an artist myself, I've had plenty like, meaningful Rylove experiences. It feels weird to
Mhm.
say, like, fan sometimes, because 'cause I'm just
Yeah.
like when I think of fan, I think of how I felt with Charlie that day. Um,
Uh-huh.
like, there's such a barrier, and, like, it's not like, it feels almost a little parasocial, For me, I'm
Right.
not nearly on that level yet, I'm like people who are fans of my music, I really like to default to as, like, Ryloves, like, being a
Yeah.
Rylove feels different than, like, being, like,
That's
my
so cute
fan,
too.
'Cause it makes me feel really
Mhm.
removed, and it makes it feel like there's, like, this air of, like, pretense that's just, like, not really there right now, and, like, doesn't
Yeah.
really make any sense for me, because everyone who's, like, a fan of mine and is actively participating is, like, very much an active participant, like, there's really
Yeah.
nothing passive about, like, being a fan of mine right now, like, first of all, like, if you're going as far in, like, your digital crate digging to, like, discover a new artist that has, like,
Mhm.
never even broken 100 monthly listeners, you're doing the work, like, not only are you listening, you're going as far to, like, really champion that artist, you know,
Yeah.
you're doing you're doing key work, and it's very important, and, it's obviously it's not necessarily like we're both equal participants in, like, the Rilo project, like, the creative of it obviously is still all coming from me and my camp and locking in and
Mhm.
making the projects, making the music, making the visuals, but right now is such a key time to kind of, like, buy in and support in any kind of way, whether it be, like, word of mouth, whether that's buying merch, buying tickets to the shows, um, and for me, I feel like, like and this goes for, like, all the other artists on my same level, it's like an investment, you're buying in early, like, you are the
Yeah.
first people to kind of make this thing happen, and the difference between whether it happens or it doesn't, it's kind of the fan love.
Yeah.
It is super important, it's so valuable, and I have this one, like, fan account, which feels crazy, but, Rilo Brazil on
I love that.
on Twitter. And it's really crazy because I'm like, "You should be getting paid for the work that you're doing." I'm not asking you to do this, I
Right.
greatly appreciate it, and, like, I can speak
Uh-huh.
firsthand, I know labels pay for that kind of work, you know? They
Right.
they buy out accounts, they make hundreds of accounts to kind of fabricate the fan love that I'm getting organically, um, and
Mhm.
that I really it goes a long way, and that's the one thing that makes me feel like this is real, it matters to people, I can't just
Yeah.
stop, because there
Mhm.
are people that are, like, still coming, people are still very much discovering me every day in real time, due to the work that I do, due to the work that the Ryloves do to kind of get the word out there, um, so the
Yeah.
biggest interaction that I had was over the summer, the freshest one for me. Over the summer, I went on tour with Bentley Robles and Z Machine, Tears and Gears tour. It was in Boston, and it was honestly the energy was insane. It was kind of the smallest show, in terms of how full the room was. It didn't really matter
Mhm.
because the people that were there were, like, really filling out the room with their energy.
Yeah.
Um, and I've never played in Boston before. I know Boston has wanted me there for a long time. Um, I didn't really know what to expect. I was like, "Okay, it's cute. Okay, let
Mhm.
me give Boston a little bit of a show," you know? I threw out my back that day. I, like
Oh,
I was in
no.
severe pain, so I was like, "I
Yeah.
don't know how much I'm gonna be able to give, but hopefully I can still give my all here." And as soon as I opened up my set with Party Monster, adrenaline, nothing but adrenaline, no back pain,
Mhm.
and it was crazy because that was my loudest show, in terms of, like,
Yeah.
crowd singing back to me, crazy, and, like, they were singing Party Monster, they were singing Everywhere I Go, they were singing RYLOVE song, it was abs
That's so
it was
cool.
cool. It's like they usually if that ever happens, it's usually for, like, one song that's, like, bigger and has, like,
Mhm.
a collaborator on it, but, like, some of these songs, I'm like, "Really? You know this song like that? That's crazy." So that was the first time I really, like, felt like, real, like, a really large sense of impact where I was like, "Wow, okay, this
Yeah.
is really happening," you know? Maybe it's not happening everywhere, but, like, the ones with tastes know, and it
They
starts
know.
there, and
Mhm.
after that show to, like, even amplify on that experience, which was already, like, very electric, I go to my merch booth. I was selling vinyl at the time for Last Resort Beach Club. I was selling some T-shirts as well, and I had this one Rylove, shout out Holly, came up to me and was, like, truly almost in tears, and it wasn't
Aw.
funny by any means, but I was, like, almost taken aback. I was like, "Really? Like, really? Like, wow, okay,
Uh-huh.
like, this really does mean something," and that was news to me, like,
Yeah.
'cause I sold them a vinyl, I sold them the assigned vinyl of Last Resort Beach Club, we took a picture with it, um, and they went on to tell me how much the project meant to them, and similarly to what you were saying about the prelude, how Beach Club was this project that they, like, helped them through a lot, and
Mhm.
I was like, "Wow," like, that's awesome because here I am,
Yeah.
thinking, "How do I get this to more people? I'm stuck, and, for the people
Mhm.
that it's reached, it's everything. Um, so
Right.
it really put in perspective for me that I'm like, "No, I'm very much, like, in this, and, like, the people that I'm
Mhm.
in this with are right here and, like, so nice. Like, the Ryloves are so nice. I can't speak to what's gonna happen, when I become Madonna, like, I can't
Yep.
speak to, like, what the fan love is gonna be like, because,
Right.
sometimes fan love can be very toxic and, like, very, very mean and
Mhm.
cruel, um, and right now it's, like, so wholesome and it's so direct and it's so meaningful, that I'm like, I love this spot, so yeah,
Yeah.
that very long
That's
answer, but
awesome.
yes, that
No, I love that so much.
yeah.
Um, I like any interaction I've had with an artist that's like I met at their show or at the merch booth, like it's also made me want to listen to their music even more just because I like can place them as like a real human being
Mhm.
versus like someone I see on my phone. And like something in my brain is like, oh my gosh, I have to listen to even more because like they exist in my
Yeah,
reality.
and it
Yeah.
makes all the difference when you can, like, put a person behind it, 100%. Yeah,
Yeah. Okay, so I have one last question at Pop. We ask everyone at Pop
okay,
Palace. So going off like the royal theme of Palace, you're in a royal throne and you have
yes.
a few like 2 to 3 musical influences or idols that share the royal court with you. Who would
Oh
they
my
be?
god. How many seats are open?
You can have like 2 to 3 to 4. It's not like,
Okay,
but like there's no like strict number.
okay, that is a really, really lovely question. Okay, so in my court, who's with me? Oh my god. I mean, definitely Charlie. She's there.
Mm-hmm.
She has to be. Right next to her is Caroline Polachek. Um, someone who's
Yep.
also been deeply, deeply influential to me through this album process. That woman knows how to build a world and make an album.
Mhm.
So yeah, that is like my blueprint for this world I'm in. And next to them, let's see. Um, you know what? I'm gonna I'm gonna put someone new in my
Yeah.
court. I'm gonna put Adela in my court. I think
Period.
she's
Love.
super cool. I think if you wanna talk about new Madonna, she's definitely got the chops. She's so
Mhm.
sick. And yeah, I think we have some things to talk about around the
Yeah.
court. And then you know what? I'm gonna
Mhm.
put Tinashe because we can't forget about Tinashe.
Yes.
That's my ooh,
That's a
I was
legendary
like, that's kind of a
court.
lethal court.
Yeah,
Wait,
like
I'm paused.
mhm.
I like this court.
So
Yeah.
comfy.
Tinashe,
Yeah.
Adela,
I love
Caroline
it.
Polachek, Charlie XCX. That's my court.
That's so
I
iconic.
love it.
I love
Yeah.
that. Well, thank you so much for joining me. It was so lovely to talk to you. I know all the listeners will be so excited. And I'll post all about the project whenever it comes out. Is there any last things you want to say before we go?
Hmm. I would say keep streaming The Prelude, Party Monster
Mm-hmm.
Ambrosia, and Magic 8 Ball, and get ready for a very visually and sonically rich 2026. Because we're going. Yep.
Yay. Yep. I can't
Thank you so
wait.
much, Jack.
Well, thank you so much. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your
Thank you.
day.
You too. Bye.